minutes. After I like 15 minutes.
Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
15 minutes.
Ram.
5 minutes to the end. 5 minutes chesaipa.
Okay. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna. Supposed to say now like that. Okay. Yeah. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyev च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो नमो नमः. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrindi ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you all the kids and all the adults who have chanted so beautifully. Dina Krishna, Jagannath, Vrinda, and all the Matajis and Prabhujis who chanted. Thank you so much. It was so enthusiastic to hear all of you chanting so nicely. May I know who all joined this mid-morning?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glory to Srila Prabhupada. This is Neetu from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna Neetu Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much Mataji for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Gauranga and all assembled devotees. Yashomati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashomati Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much Mataji for joining early morning, mid-morning and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranams. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharajas and all the assembled Vaishnavas. This is Kirtida Sundari.
Hare Krishna Kirtida Mataji, welcome back. Nice to hear your voice, Mataji. Of course, you were there yesterday. I was not there. I joined little late. And nice to hear you, Mataji. Welcome back. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Vinita Gandharika Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Preeti Dasi from Charlotte. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Priti Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association every day, early morning, mid-morning. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Hare
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandhavika Mataji, Dandavad Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru Maharaj ki Jai. This is Shyama Gauri Devi Dasi from Srila.
Hare Krishna, Shyama Gauri Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Thank you so much for sharing Hare Krishna Maha Mantra for all of us so that we don't do mistake while chanting. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves before we start recording?
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Gurudev. This is Cinmayi Vrajapriya Devi Dasi from Srila.
Hare Krishna, Cinmayi Vrajapriya Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nice to hear your voice, Mataji. We are eagerly waiting to hear from you, Mataji. Welcome to the call, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. Today, we are very fortunate to have Her Grace Cinmayi Vrajapriya Mataji to enlighten us on the topic of Caitanya Bhagavat. Before that, I would like to read the quote. Hare Krishna, can you all hear me? It got struck. Oh.
Yes, we can hear you, Mataji.
Okay. I feel like it got struck, Mataji. Crying is a great transcendental pleasure that they cannot understand. The profound of knowledge, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was simply crying. That is allowed, so that they do not understand how crying can be pleasure. That is Mayavada. Mayavada. Vrindavan, July 1977. Hare Krishna, Cinmayi Vrajapriya Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Can you all hear me, Matajis?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for this opportunity, Mataji. Totally not qualified to talk about Caitanya Bhagavat, but I'm doing the service for my own purification. So please tolerate me and all my offenses. And you're all elevated Vaishnavas here. So please bear with me and correct me wherever I make a mistake. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. I'll start with prayers, Mataji, Prabhuji. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्या देशतारिणे पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तिशक्तिकं जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधारा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दं माधवं कृष्ण चैतन्यम् ईश्वरम् हरिः ओम् तत्सत्। Hare Krishna. The verses given to me today are from 155 to 169. So we are in chapter 9, which is talking about the travels of Nithyananda Prabhu. So yesterday we had an amazing class where the initial part of Madhavindra, Srila Madhavindra Puri meeting Nithyananda Prabhu meeting Madhavindra Puri was explained in a very beautiful way. So I will make a very meager attempt to continue what Prabhuji left. I'll start with text 155. Madhavindra Puri Prema Maya Kalevara Prema Maya Yata Sabha Sange Anuchara. The body of Sri Madhavindra Puri was imbued with ecstatic love of God, and his followers partake of those same sentiments. Text 156. Krishna rasa vinuara nahika ahara Madhavendra Puri dehe Krishnera vihara. Shripad Madhavendra Puri did not relish anything other than loving sentiments for Lord Krishna. For Lord Krishna enjoyed his pastimes in the body of Madhavendra Puri. So here I would like to share a small event which happened when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling in Vrindavan. So as Mahaprabhu was traveling in Vrindavan, he was chanting and dancing in so much of ecstasy that all the people were struck with wonder there. And simply by seeing the beautiful form of Mahaprabhu, everyone was maddened with love for Krishna. They all were laughing, crying, dancing, chanting. And in this way, Mahaprabhu meets one Brahmana. This Brahmana, he falls at the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu, and then he begins to dance with such ecstasy. And then he dances with Mahaprabhu. And then both of them get into such an ecstatic mood that they embrace each other. And then they start Hari Bol, and the entire crowd there starts crying Hari, Hari, Hari. And then after this event, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu takes this Brahmana aside and he asks him from where did he get this transcendental opulence of ecstatic love for Krishna. And then the Brahmana replies, His Holiness Srila Madhavendra Puri came to the city of Mathura. He visited my house and accepted me as a disciple. So the Lord, on hearing this, he offers his obeisances to the Brahmana. And then he says, upon seeing your ecstatic love, I can imagine that you have some relationship with Madhavendra Puri. This kind of ecstatic love can be experienced only when one has a relationship with Madhavendra Puri. Without him, even a scent of such transcendental ecstatic love is impossible. So these are the words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I am a fallen neophyte. I have no understanding of any of these ecstatic symptoms. So from the core of my heart, I thank Srila Prabhupada for linking me, for uplifting me, for accepting me and linking me to this glorious lineage of Sri Madhavindra Puri. So we'll continue with text 157. Yanra Shishya Prabhu Acharya Vara Gosai Ki Kahiba Ara Tanra Premera Badai. What more can I say about the devotion of he who was the spiritual master of Sri Advaita Acharya? The word Badai derived from the Sanskrit word Briddhi and the common Bengali word Bada means prominence, greatness, praiseworthy, glorious and respectable. So Srila Madhavindra Puri accepted Sri Advaita Acharya, who is Mahavishnu and Sadashiva himself, as his disciple. Madhava Puri re dekhilena Nithyananda Tatakshane prema murcha haila nispanda. When Nithyananda saw Madhavindra Puri, he was immediately stunned in ecstatic love and fell to the ground unconscious. So Nithyananda Prabhu, the Supreme Lord himself, when he sees his devotee Madhavindra Puri, he was stunned in ecstatic love and fell to the ground. Nithyanande dekhi matra Shri Madhava Puri padila muchita hai apana pasari. Seeing Nithyananda, Madhavindra Puri forgot himself and fell unconscious. So this is a transcendental interaction between the Lord and his pure devotee. Bhakti rase Madhavendra Adi Sutradhara Gora Chandra Iha Kahi Yachena Barabara. Sri Gaurachandra has repeatedly stated that Sri Madhavindra Puri is the original root of worship in ecstatic love. The word Bhakti Rasa is explained as follows. Codes of devotional service were handed down through Lakshmipati Tirtha of the Tattvavada branch. The codes of pure devotional mellows, however, were inaugurated by Sripad Madhavendra Puri. Here I would like to recite a verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 9.10. Jaya Shri Madhava Puri Krishna Prema Pura Bhakti Kalpa Tarura Tenho Prathama Ankura. All glories to Srila Madhavendra Puri, the storehouse of all devotional service unto Krishna. He is the desired tree of devotional service, and it is in him that the seed of devotional service first fructify. So we have we all know this tree of devotional service, which was made by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the first seed, which was first seed of devotional service, which fructified, is Srila Madhavendra Puri, and then from him, his disciple Srila Ishwara Puri, and in him also the seed of devotional service is fructified, and from that seed is our dear Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, who accepted Sri Ishwara Puri as his spiritual master, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the main trunk of this tree of devotional service. Mahaprabhu is not just the trunk, he is the gardener of this tree, and he is also this tree has unlimited branches, of which ISKCON is one branch, Srila Prabhupada says, and he is also the branches, the trunk, and the gardener of this tree. So that is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the root, the seed which formed this tree is Srila Madhavendra Puri, who is the storehouse of devotional service, and he is the storehouse of pure devotional service with ecstasy and prema for the Supreme Lord. Text 161. Donhe mucha hailena donha darashane kandaye Ishwara Puri adi shishya gane. After they both fell unconscious, the disciples headed by Ishwara Puri all began to cry. At the time of Sri Madhavindra Puri's meeting with Sri Nithyananda Prabhu, his eternal associate and servant Shripad Ishwara Puri was present. The phrase Ishwara Puri Adi refers to the 9 nidhis or the 9 sannyasis headed by Paramananda Puri. So we're talking about this tree of devotional service. This tree is based on the strength of 9 roots. These 9 roots are the Navanidhis or 9 sannyasis. The names of these sannyasis are, first is Paramananda Puri, who is the central main root, and the other roots are spread in the 8 directions. They are Keshava Bharati, Brahmananda Puri, Brahmananda Bharati, Sri Vishnu Puri, Keshava Puri, Krishnananda Puri, Sri Narasimha Tirtha, and Sri Sukhananda Tirtha. These Sukhananda Puri, sorry. These are the 8 other roots of this trio for devotional service. Moving on to text 162. Kshanika haila bahya drishti dui jana anyo anye galadhari karena krandana. After some time, when they regained external consciousness, they held each other's necks and began to cry. The word bahya drishti means after regaining consciousness or coming to external senses. So this is, they just regained their external senses, but internally they were filled with ecstatic love. Balu gadi vyayadui Prabhu prema rase hunkara kare Krishna premera aveshe. Overwhelmed in ecstatic love for Krishna, they then rolled in the sand and cried out loudly. The words Dui Prabhu refer to Srimad Nithyananda Prabhu and Shripad Madhavindra Puri. Text 164. Prema nadi vahe dui Prabhu ranayane Prithvi haila sikta dhanya he namane. Tears of love flowed like rivers from their eyes and soaked Mother Earth, thereby making her feel gratified. Mother Earth felt so grateful to the Lord and Srila Madhavendra Puri because they were soaking her with their tears of love. So beautiful these verses are. I am absolutely not doing any justice here. Please bear with me. Kampa ashrupulaka bhavera antanai dui dehe viharaye Caitanya Gosai. Shivering, shedding of tears, hair standing on end, and other ecstatic symptoms appeared without end, for Lord Chaitanya personally resides in their bodies. Text 166. Nithyananda bole Yata tirtha karilana samyak tahara phala ajipailana. Lord Nithyananda said, whatever pilgrimage I have performed till now has today borne fruit. I will read a small verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 9.4. This talks about Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani. Here Prabhupada gives a very beautiful purport. It's a very small purport. Seyi sabha tirtha sparshi mahatirtha kaila seyi chale seyi desera loka nistarila. On the plea of visiting all those holy places, the Lord converted many thousands of residents and thus delivered them. Simply by touching the holy places, he made them into great places of pilgrimage. So this is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's travels. He begins his travel to South India, and this is the 4th verse. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It is said, Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani. A tirtha or a holy place is a place where great saintly personalities visit or reside. Although the holy places were already places of pilgrimage, they were all purified by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's visit. Many people go to these holy places and leave their sinful activities there, thus becoming free from contamination. When these contaminations pile up, they are counteracted by the visit of great personalities like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his strict followers. And Prabhupada gives a very beautiful example here. Many kinds of patients come to a hospital which may be infected by many types of diseases. Actually, the hospital is always infected, but the expert physician keeps the hospital sterilized by his expert presence and management. Similarly, places of pilgrimage are always infected by the sins left by the sinners who go there. But when a personality like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visits such a place, all contaminations vanish. So Lord Nithyananda Prabhu has visited so many places and he has actually sanctified all those places, but he says that all his activities of visiting those holy places has borne fruit today just by seeing Srila Madhavindra Puri. So text 167. Nayane dekhinu Madhavendra charana, e prema dekhiya dhanya haila jivana. Today I have seen the lotus feet of Madhavendra Puri. By seeing his ecstatic love of God, my life has become successful. So Srila Narottam Das Thakur says, Nitai pada kamala koti chandra sushitala je chayaya jagat chudaya. The lotus feet of Lord Nithyananda is so nice and cooling. It is like the soothing moonlight which is coming from millions and millions of moon. And under this lotus feet, all materialists who are always blazing in the fire of material existence, they may come under the shade of this divine lotus feet, and if they take shelter there, they will be fully relieved and satiated. The lotus feet of such a Lord, and this Lord is praising the lotus feet of his pure devotee, Srila Madhavendra Puri. Text 168. Madhavendra Puri Nityanande Kari Kole Uttarana Sphure Kantharudha Prema Jale. Madhavendra Puri embraced Nityananda and was unable to reply, for his throat was choked with love. Text 169. Hena Prita Hailena Madhavendra Puri Vaksha Haite Nityanande Bahira Nakari. Sri Madhavendra Puri was so pleased that he was unable to release Nityananda from his embrace. I am not qualified to talk about the ecstatic symptoms. I don't understand them. So I am going to narrate the pastime of Madhavendra Puri, and this is for my own purification. All of you exalted devotees here know this story and will narrate it much, much, much better than me. So please bear with me. So this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 4th chapter, Sri Madhavendra Puri's devotional service. We begin with text 1, which is a prayer offered by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami to Srila Madhavendra Puri. Yasmai datum chorayan kshirabandham gopinatah kshirachorabhido abhuta Shri Gopala Pradurasid Vashasan Yat Premnatam Madhavendram Natosmi. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Madhavendra Puri, who was given a pot of sweet rice stolen by Sri Gopinath, celebrated thereafter as Kshira Chora. Being pleased by Madhavendra Puri's love, Sri Gopala, the deity at Govardhana, appeared to public vision. We will start with the story of Srila Madhavendra Puri. So this story begins with, this story was narrated from the lotus mouth of the Supreme Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. So to begin with, now Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going towards Jagannath Puri, and he is accompanied by 4 of his devotees, of whom Nityananda Prabhu is one. And Mahaprabhu is chanting the holy names, and he is dancing, and he is moving from one village to another, collecting rice and other grains from certain villages, making prasadam, and this way the group is moving, and they enter the village of Remuna. On entering the village of Remuna, Mahaprabhu goes and visits the deity of Gopinath. And this Gopinath deity is so beautiful that the Lord offers his obeisances with great devotion. And when the Lord is offering his obeisances, the helmet of flowers which is placed on the Lord's head, they fall onto the head of Mahaprabhu. And with this, Mahaprabhu becomes very pleased and he chants and dances in various ways. And all the servants of Gopinath who are there, they are struck with wonder when they see Mahaprabhu's intense love, exquisite beauty, and his transcendental qualities. So their love to Mahaprabhu is so much that they start serving him in many ways, and they request him if he can spend the night there. The Lord agrees, and the Lord has one more reason for agreeing, that is, he wants to taste the sweet rice which is offered to Gopinath in the evenings. So now the Lord is sitting and he starts narrating a story. He says he has heard this story from his spiritual master Ishwarapuri. And he says this deity is widely known as Kshirachora Gopinath because of a story related to Srila Madhavindra Puri. And Mahaprabhu starts narrating the story now. He says once Sri Madhavindra Puri travels all the way to Vrindavana. And he reaches Govardhana Hill. And he, on seeing Mount Govardhana Hill, Madhavindra Puri is mad in ecstasy. He is sometimes standing, sometimes falling to the ground, and he is crying and he's laughing. And this way he does the entire Govardhan Parikrama. After circumambulating Govardhana Hill, Sri Madhavendra Puri, he takes bath in Govind Kund and he sits under a tree to take his evening rest. Now, Srila Madhavendra Puri is a Paramahamsa. He does not go from door to beg for some prashadam or anything. He doesn't do any such thing. He just sits like a Python guru, and whenever some prashadam comes to him, he will honor it. So this way he's sitting under a tree. Then one beautiful cowherd boy, he comes there and his beauty is exquisite. This beautiful cowherd boy comes carrying a pot of milk in his hand, and he places it before Madhavendra Puri, smiles at Madhavendra Puri and addresses him. And he says, "Oh Madhavendra Puri, please drink the milk I have brought. Why don't you beg some food to eat? What kind of meditation are you doing?" And when Madhavendra Puri sees the beauty of this boy, he is completely satisfied. He does not have any hunger, thirst, nothing. And then he looks at the boy and asks, "Who are you? Where do you reside? And how do you know that I was fasting?" The boy replied, "Sir, I'm a cowherd boy and I reside in this village. In my village, no one fasts. And in this village, people can beg food from houses and they can eat. Some people drink only milk, but if a person does not ask anyone for food, then I supply them with all eatables." And then he says, some women had come actually to take some water here, and they saw you sitting here. And so they called me and they have given me this pot of milk to give it to you. And then the boy says, "It's getting late. I have to go milk my cows, but I will come back to collect this pot. You can sit here and honor this milk." Saying this way, the boy left the place suddenly. And Madhavendra Puri's heart was filled with joy and wonder. And then he drinks the drinks the milk, washes the pot, and he puts the pot aside, waiting for the boy to come. And he is going on looking towards the path in which the boy left. But this beautiful cowherd boy never returns. And Srila Madhavendra Puri could not sleep. Through the night, he sits, he chants, and he keeps chanting. And at the end of the night, he kind of goes to sleep. And then in his dream, this same beautiful boy appears. And this boy, he takes hold of Madhava Puri's hand and takes him inside to the jungle beside, and he takes him to a particular bush. And he says, "Oh, I reside in this bush, And because of this, I suffer very much from severe cold, rain showers, winds, and scorching heat. And then, and the cowherd boy says, please bring the people of this village and get them to take me from this bush. And then you can situate me nicely on top of the hill. Construct a temple there for me and install me in that temple. And after this, wash me with large quantities of cold water so that my body will be cleansed. And he looks at Madhavindra Puri and says, for many days I have been observing you and I have been wondering, when will Madhavindra Puri come here to serve me? And he says, the cowherd boy says, your ecstatic love for me is so pure that I have accepted your service, and so I shall appear here. My name is Gopala. I am the Govardhana Giridhari, and when I have been here all the while, and when some Muslims attacked me, the priest who was serving me took me and hid me in this bush, and then he ran away. So from then, I am in this bush. I've been staying in this bush, and I have been waiting for you to come and take me out. Saying this, in the dream, the boy disappeared. And then Madhavindra Puri wakes up, and then he says, oh Krishna, it was Krishna himself who had come to give me milk, and I could not recognize him. And then he falls to the ground in such ecstatic love. He cries for some time, but then he wants to follow the orders of the Lord. So he goes to the village, he takes his morning bath, everything, and then he goes to the village and he speaks to the villagers and he tells them that they have to come and help him clear the jungle, go to the bush and retrieve the deity. So the villagers all go with Madhavindra Puri. They take choppers, spades, and then they go to the jungle. They clear the path, and then when Madhavindra Puri points to the particular bush, they see beautiful Gopal deity there. He's covered with dirt and grass, but they're all struck with wonder. So, and this deity is so heavy that some people, they're not able to lift. So some strong men, they come and they all assemble together. They carry this deity, and Madhavindra Puri instructs them to carry the deity to the top of the hill, and he also follows them. So they go to the top of the hill, they lay a big stone as a throne, install this deity of Gopal, and then they put a stone behind for support. And now all the Brahmana priests from the village, they come and they collect water from Govind Kund. They collect 900 pots of water from Govind Kund, and they start the Abhishekam process for the deity. There are various musical instruments being played, bugles, drums, women are singing, and it's like a big festival. And the entire village gets gathered there, and they get all the milk, yogurt, ghee, whatever is there in their house. They get everything. All the villagers, they get it they get everything to this festival, and they start the Abhisheka process for the Lord. First, the Lord is massaged with large quantity of oil, and then he is bathed in Panchagavya, then Panchamrita, and then the Mahasnana starts, where water with ghee is poured on the Lord. 100 pots of such water is poured. And after the Mahasnana, the deity is again massaged with scented oil, and then finally scented water is poured in a conch shell over the deity. And this way, after the body of the deity is cleansed, he is dressed with beautiful garments, sandalwood pulp, tulsi garlands, various fragrant flowers, everything. And then finally, after this, incense and lamps are all offered. And the Lord is offered lots of bhoga. So here what happens, all the villagers are accumulated, and when they know that installation of a deity is going to happen, they get all the grocery, the rice, dal, wheat flour, whatever they have in their house, they get everything. And such large quantities of foodstuff is transported to the top of the hill. And now for 10 brahmanas, they cook the food grains, 5 brahmanas make vegetables like dry and liquid vegetables, and they take various roots and fruits from the forest, everything, and they start making so many dishes. And then 5 to 7 men are there just to make chapatis nicely smeared with ghee. And all this is stacked up nicely in huge pots. And then there are pots of yogurt, milk, buttermilk, sweet rice, cream, and all this is offered. And in this way, the Annakuta ceremony was performed, and Madhavendra Puri personally offers everything to the Supreme Lord. And after this, many water pots of water, scented water for drinking was offered, because the Lord has been hungry and thirsty for a very long time in the bushes. So when all this was offered, and the Lord was so hungry that he accepted everything. And Madhavendra Puri personally supervises all this. And finally, when the Lord is done, he is done with the bhoga, and he is given water to wash his mouth. He is given betel nuts to chew, and then finally Arati is performed. And all the people there, they chant Jaya, Jaya, Jaya Gopal. They are very happy with this. And then Madhavendra Puri gets a cot, and he makes a nice bedspread with straw, and he lays down the Lord to rest. After the Lord is laid to rest, Madhavendra Puri instructs all the Brahmanas to feed everyone sumptuously. So now here, not just the villagers of the around of Govardhana have come, but all the villages around, even great cities, they like Mathura, they hear about this, and they all have come, and they all partake prasadam. And after that, they line up in front of Madhavendra Puri, and they ask, which day can we do the service? They sign up the slots, like, can we do service on this day, this day, this day? So everything gets signed up, and every day one village with all the ingredients, they come and they perform this amazing Annakuta ceremony. And all the people there were thinking this Annakuta ceremony was done by Lord Krishna himself to Govardhana Hill, and now again it's being performed by Srila Madhavendra Puri. And Srila Madhavendra Puri arranged it in just one day, everything he did by the grace of the Lord. So this goes on for, and all the Brahmanas who were there were initiated by Srila Madhavendra Puri, so that they can all be engaged in various services to the Lord. And as this was going on, and two Brahmanas come from Bengal, and Madhavendra Puri likes them so much that he keeps them in Vrindavan. He gives them all comforts, and he initiates them also, and he entrusts them with the daily service of the Lord. So this way, the service was performed continuously for 2 years under the direct supervision of Madhavendra Puri. Then one day, Madhavendra Puri again gets a dream in which the Lord appears. And Gopal says, of course, you have done a lot of arrangements, but still my body temperature is not coming down. So can you please bring sandalwood from the Malaya province, which is the Western Ghats of India? From there, can you get sandalwood and smear the sandalwood pulp over my body, and this will cool me. So Madhavendra Puri, when he wakes up from this dream, he wants to execute this command of the Lord. And now he starts proceeding towards Bengal. He walks all the way from Vrindavan to Bengal, and he reaches Bengal, and he reaches the house of, he goes to Shantipura and reaches the house of Srila Advaita Acharya. Here, Advaita Acharya receives him very nicely, and then he honors Madhavendra Puri, and then he begs Madhavendra Puri for initiation. And Madhavendra Puri initiates Advaita Acharya also. And then Madhavendra Puri starts traveling down towards Remuna, where Gopinath is situated. So on entering this temple of Gopinath, Madhavendra Puri is he's filled with ecstatic love for the Lord that he starts chanting and dancing, and all the people they are mesmerized seeing Srila Madhavendra Puri showing such ecstatic symptoms for the Lord. And then Madhavendra Puri, always thinking of his service of Gopal, he approaches the Brahmana priest there, and he asks the Brahmana priest, can you tell me what are all the food you offer to Gopinath here, because he sees that the arrangements are made very, very nicely to offer Gopinath. So then the Brahmana priest, he says about all the foodstuffs which they offer, all the bhogas which they offer, and then he says, in the evening, we offer sweet rice in 12 earthen pots to the Lord, and this sweet rice is so tasty. It is as sweet as nectar. That is why it is called Amrita Keli. And this sweet rice is celebrated throughout the world. So much that our Gopinath is called Gopinath, so much so that this sweet rice is called Gopinatha Kshira. And nowhere else in the world, this kind of sweet rice is offered to our Lord. So hearing this, Madhavindra Puri, he gets a thought. He says, if without me asking, a little sweet rice is given to me, I can then taste it and make a similar preparation to offer to my Lord Gopala. And then Madhavindra Puri is so exalted that as soon as this thought comes to his mind, he gets ashamed. He feels so ashamed that he even thought about, excuse me, he thought about having the Lord's bhoga, Lord's offering. And thinking this, he feels very ashamed. He just stays in the temple, and when the offering is done and the Arati ceremony is done, he offers his obeisances to the Lord, to Gopinath, and quietly leaves the temple without telling anyone. So then Madhavindra Puri walks to the marketplace, and since it is late in the evening, the marketplace is vacant. So he goes there and chooses a spot and sits there and starts chanting. Now the temple priest, who is also a very exalted devotee of Gopinath, he finishes all his evening duties, everything, and he goes to his house to take some rest. And in his dream, he sees Gopinath. And Gopinath comes and talks to the temple priest, and he says, "Oh priest, please get up and open the door of the temple. I have kept one pot of sweet rice saved for one sannyasi by name Madhavindra Puri. And this pot of sweet rice is hidden behind my cloth curtain. And you could not see this before because of my tricks. So what you are supposed to do now is, you are supposed to take this pot of sweet rice and go in search of a sannyasi by name Madhavindra Puri. And let me tell you where he is sitting. The Lord is so merciful, so merciful. He gives all details. He says he's sitting in a vacant marketplace. So take this pot of sweet rice and go and give it to him." This way the Lord says, tells the priest, and he disappears. Now the priest wakes up from the dream and he understands what the Lord wants from him. So immediately he goes, takes a bath, enters the temple, opens the temple door, enters the temple, and just like the Lord had said, behind the cloth curtain, one pot of sweet rice is kept. So he removes this pot, cleans off that place where this pot was there, and then he comes out, closes the temple door, and he starts walking towards the marketplace. And as he is going, he is calling out loudly, "Will he whose name is Madhavindra Puri please come and take this pot? Gopinath has stolen this pot of sweet rice for you." So this way he is calling out loudly. And he says, "Would the sannyasi whose name is Madhavindra Puri please come and take this pot of sweet rice and enjoy the prasadam with great happiness? You are the most fortunate person within these three worlds," the priest says. So hearing his name being called in the marketplace as the priest is going from stall to stall, calling out Madhavindra Puri's name, Srila Madhavindra Puri comes out. And he identifies himself, and the priest, he immediately gives this pot of sweet rice in Madhavindra Puri's hands, and he falls flat at the lotus feet of Madhavindra Puri. And then he asks, what exactly is the story behind this? And Madhavindra Puri explains the entire story. So seeing that, and Madhavindra Puri actually, when he realizes that the Lord himself has sent that pot of sweet rice, he becomes so filled with ecstatic symptoms. And seeing this ecstatic love of Madhavindra Puri for Krishna, the priest, he thinks, now I understand why Krishna is so obliged to this devotee, and that Krishna has gone to the extent of stealing a pot of sweet rice. So that kind of reciprocation the Lord is showing with his devotee, and the priest is so qualified that he is enjoying this interaction. So then the priest offers his obeisances to Madhavindra Puri and returns to the temple. And Madhavindra Puri is in complete ecstasy. He honors the entire pot of sweet rice, and then he washes the pot and breaks this pot into tiny, tiny pieces. And he ties all these pieces in his outer cloth. And he keeps them nicely. And every day, Srila Madhavindra Puri would eat one small piece of this earthen pot. And after eating it, he would immediately be overwhelmed with ecstasy. And he says, now Madhavindra Puri thinks, okay, now this story of where the Lord has given me a pot of sweet rice, then this will spread all over the village. And when some people hear this in the morning, they're going to come in huge crowds. So thinking this way, Srila Madhavindra Puri offers his obeisances to Gopinath on the spot, and he leaves Ramuna before morning, and he starts walking towards Jagannath Puri. He reaches Nilachal, and there Srila Madhavindra Puri looks at Jagannath, the beauty of Jagannath, and he gets into such ecstatic symptoms. He chants, he dances, he sings, and he is so happy seeing Jagannath that all the people around are captivated seeing Madhavindra Puri's ecstasy, seeing the Lord. So this way they enjoy this transcendental bliss of this pure devotee. And then crowds and crowds of people start coming, and they start offering respect to Madhavindra Puri. So Madhavindra Puri does not like this sort of reputation. Fearing the reputation which would come in Ramuna, he came to Jagannath Puri. But transcendental reputation is following him everywhere. So here also he decides that I have had enough time with Jagannath. Let me do what I was supposed to do and let me go back. So he meets the servants of Jagannath, and he tells them the entire story, why he has come to Jagannath. And then those servants of Jagannath are so happy that Gopal is asking sandalwood from them. So now they immediately start endeavoring, they collect all the sandalwood, and they also collect some camphor, and they give one Brahmana and one servant to Madhavindra Puri to carry this sandalwood. And those days, all these provinces were, some of these provinces were ruled by Muslim kings, and they would not let the transport of the sandalwood from their province to another province. So the servants of Jagannath gave the right documents and papers, the government papers, which gave him the permission to transport the sandalwood. And they also gave him some travel expenses. Taking all this, Srila Madhavindra Puri starts walking towards Ramuna. That is the way to go back to Vrindavan. And again, on reaching Ramuna, he is tempted to see our Gopinath there. So he goes to the temple of Gopinath, offers his obeisances many times at the lotus feet of the Lord. And again, in ecstasy, he starts dancing, singing. And the priest of Gopinath now, he sees Madhavindra Puri, and he is so happy to see Madhavindra Puri again. He offers respect to him, and he requests him, can you please stay tonight? I will give you the sweet rice, and you can honor the sweet rice prasadam again, and please stay tonight with us. So Srila Madhavindra Puri accepts it, and he stays the night in Ramuna. And at night, again, he gets another dream where Gopal comes and he says, oh Madhavindra Puri, I have already received all the sandalwood and camphor which you are carrying. So now what you do, grind all the sandalwood with camphor and smear the pulp on the body of Gopinath. So there is no difference between the body of Gopinath and me. So when you apply this pulp on Gopinath's body, my body will get cooled. So why the Lord is doing this is, the Lord understands that as Madhavindra Puri is going to travel from Ramuna all the way to Vrindavan, he's going to cross lots of provinces with these Muslim governors, and he's going to face a lot of difficulties. So the Lord is so compassionate towards his pure devotees that he says, I will save you from all this trouble and inconvenience. Just whatever you want to serve me here, you can serve Gopinath there, and I will receive it here. So this way the Lord instructs Madhavendra Puri. So immediately Madhavendra Puri, when he wakes up, he calls the servants of Gopinath and he says, all this sandalwood pulp and camphor is for your service to Gopinath. And he says, every day we have to grind the sandalwood and camphor together, make a nice paste, and apply this paste on Gopinath's body. And I will you can make use of my servant also for this. You can employ 2 more people to whom I will pay. He says, using the travel expenses which they have given, the servants of Jagannath have given, he uses it for this purpose. And hearing this, the servants of Gopinath become very happy that all through summer, their Gopinath is going to get nice sandalwood pulp on his body. So they are very happy with this, and they start the process immediately. And this way, all through summer, Gopinath is smeared with nice fragrant sandalwood pulp on his body, and our Gopal in Govardhan is also very happy with this. So Madhavendra Puri stays here all through this summer till the entire stock of sandalwood is finished. He stays there, and then at the end of summer he plans to return back to Jagannath Puri to start his period of Chaturmasya. So now, thus, from the lotus mouth of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu himself, we have heard this story, who personally praises the nectarian characteristics of Madhavendra Puri. And while he related all this to his devotees, he personally relished it. And then Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he talks to Nithyananda Prabhu and says, now you be the judge. Is there anyone in this world as fortunate as Madhavendra Puri? Madhavendra Puri is so fortunate that Krishna personally appeared before him and asked him to drink some milk. He delivered some milk to Madhavendra Puri and asked him to drink it. And then he appears in the dreams of Madhavendra Puri 3 times. So, being obliged because of the loving affairs of Madhavendra Puri, Lord Krishna himself appeared as Gopal deity, and accepting his service, he liberated the whole world. So this way Mahaprabhu says, and on account of Madhavendra Puri, Lord Gopinath stole the sweet rice and he became famous as Kshira Chora, the thief who stole the sweet rice. So this way, and the Lord narrates the story of Srila Madhavendra Puri, and then he reads, the Lord also says one famous verse of Madhavendra Puri. This verse Srila Madhavendra Puri was repeating again and again when he was ending his pastimes. And this verse, Mahaprabhu says, is like moon. Says, Eta bali pade prabhu tanra krita shloka yehi shloka chandre jagat karyache aloka. That verse is just like the moon. It has spread illumination all over the world. Continuous rubbing increases the aroma of Malaya sandalwood. Similarly, consideration of this verse increases one's understanding of its importance. As the Kaustubha Mani is considered to be the most precious of valuable stones, this verse is similarly considered the best of poems dealing with the mellows of devotional service. And then the Lord says, Ei shloka kahiya chena radha takurani tanra kripaya sphuriya che madhavendra vani. Actually, this verse was spoken by Srimati Radharani herself, and by her mercy only was it manifest in the words of Madhavendra Puri. And only 3 people can understand the meaning of this verse, and they can taste this verse. They are Srimati Radharani herself, Srila Madhavendra Puri, and Mahaprabhu himself. There is no 4th man capable of understanding it, Mahaprabhu says. And let me recite this verse for my own purification. Ayi Dina Dayardranath he Mathuranath Kadavalokyase Hridayam Tvadaloka Kataram Daita Bhramyati Kim Karomyaham. O my Lord, O most merciful Master, O Master of Mathura, when shall I see you again? Because of my not seeing you, my agitated heart has become unsteady. O most beloved one, what shall I do now? So when Lord Krishna left Vrindavan and accepted the kingdom of Mathura, Srimati Radharani, out of her ecstatic feelings of separation, expressed how Krishna can be loved in separation. Thus, devotional service in separation is central to this verse. Worship in separation is considered by the Gaudiya Madhva Sampradaya to be the topmost level of devotional service, where the devotee thinks himself as very poor and neglected. So then the Lord says, okay, and reciting this verse, the Lord fell to the ground unconscious and he was overwhelmed and had no control over himself. In fact, he could not even say the whole verse together and he was simply saying, Ayi Dina, Ayi Dina. That is all. He kept repeating this one phrase and profuse tears were just rolling from his eyes and he was trembling, perspiring, jubilant tears, shock, fading of bodily luster, disappointment, moroseness, loss of memory, pride, joy, and humility were all visible in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body. And this verse uncovers the door of ecstatic love. And now for the temple of Gopinath, all the evening activities are done. The Lord is put to rest. And the priest of Gopinath carries all the 12 pots and comes and offers it to Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu is none other than that Gopinath, and he is tasting that sweet rice every day. But in the role of devotee, he accepts 5 pots for the 5 devotees who are sitting there, and he gives the 7 remaining pots to the priest so that they can also honor the prasadam. And then they all ate this prasadam. And that night, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spends the night in Ramuna chanting. And in the morning, after seeing the Mangalarati, he leaves. I will read the last verse of this chapter. Shraddha yukta hanaiha sune yehi jana Shri Krishna charane seyi paya prema dhana. One who hears this narration with faith and devotion attains the treasure of love of Godhead at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. I will end by saying one verse which has which is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Na prema shravanadi bhaktirapi va yogo athava vaishnavo jnanam va shubha karma va kiyadaho sajjatirapyasthi va hinathadika sadhake tvai tathapyachedya mula sati he gopi jana vallabha vyathayate ha madashaiva mam. The translation is, O my Lord, I do not have any love for you, nor am I qualified for discharging devotional service by chanting and hearing, nor do I possess the mystic power of a Vaishnava, knowledge, or pious activities, nor do I belong to a very high caste family. On the whole, I do not possess anything. Still, O beloved of the gopis, because you bestow your mercy on the most fallen, I have an unbreakable hope that is constantly in my heart. That hope is always giving me pain. Thank you, Matajis. Thank you, Prabhujis, for tolerating me. Please correct me. Please add. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Gurudev. Hare Krishna.
That was a beautiful class, Mataji. So beautiful. And the best part is how much you relish when you talk. So when the speaker relishes on the topic, it automatically becomes easy for the listeners to grasp what the speaker is telling. So it was so beautifully presented with such relevant stories and verses. It was like seeing the pastime in front of our eyes. Very grateful to you, Mataji. We are so fortunate to actually have your association on this call. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Nowhere am I qualified. I have nothing. Just hoping that some purification will happen to me. That is all, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Cinmayi Vrajapriya, Mataji ki jai. Thank you so much for such a beautiful session, beautiful narration of this wonderful pastime. Actually, it's one of my favorite pastime of Srila Madhavindra Puri. So thank you, Mataji. Thank you. You were narrating it so beautifully that I could literally envision that pastime. So thank you so much.
Please add, you're all elevated devotees. I didn't do any justice to the pastime here. Please add, Mataji.
Did a lot, Mataji. It was wonderful, wonderful session. So thank you so much. And we are really grateful to our wonderful acharyas who gave this wonderful parampara to us. And, from that, Chandan Yatra starts from Akshay Tritiya. 21 days, in ISKCON, every temple Chandan Yatra because of this beautiful pastime. So thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful session. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Cinmayi Vrajapriya, Mataji. As they both said, ecstatic class, so sweet, and you narrated it so sweetly. And I never, I always forget the details of this story, but I love, now that I hear it again, I'm like, oh yes, now I remember. And I was thinking of two things. One thing I was thinking when he was saying that the pure devotees go to those holy places and they purify those holy places. And I was just thinking of Guru Maharaj's South India Yatra that he just finished recently, and how he was going to all the places in South India and purifying those places. And and he makes those places tirthas, right? So he was in Chennai also. So I was just remembering that and thinking, yes, here again, Guru Maharaj is following in the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by doing exactly what needs to be done, right? The other thing I was thinking was when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu distributed that prasadam, we have a tendency. I remember when I was in Krishna Valley in Budapest, in the farming community there. And so one of the days they had given me the Mahaprasadam, the prasadam plate of Radhe Shyam. And I was looking at it, I was thinking, and then everybody was having breakfast. So I came out and I started, giving it to everybody. And I realized that time, the prasadam was much more enjoyable than me eating that whole plate by myself. It was great. It was just that whole idea. And I'm just thinking, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also giving us that example that we need to share the prasadam. And, and I can attest to the fact that, yes, sharing the prasadam, no matter how little it is, when we share that prasadam, it just adds so much more sweetness to the whole thing. Another level, right? The prasadam is good, but the level that comes on top of that is just beyond compare. So those are two thoughts that came to mind, two memories that came to mind. So thank you very much. It very much touched my heart. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Cinmayi Vrajapriya, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. What a beautiful class, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji, for such a beautiful, beautiful class. And your sloka recitation is so sweet, especially first when you started Madhavindra Puri pastime, you started with the prayers, right? That sloka recitation was so nice. It's like, wow. And the story narration that you did, as we all know the story, but then when it is coming from your lotus mouth, it's like, wow, it's nectarian, Mataji. It's so nice you are explaining. Your explanation would be even be understandable for even small kids. Such a beautiful way you are explaining, Mataji.
I really like the pastime. I really like it, Mataji. I was also hearing it. I really liked it, and I like the part I actually only heard one part which Madhavindra Puri went in the temple, he opened the door, and then he went in the temple, he opened the curtain, and he found the nectar pot of butter, and then he came outside and he closed the temple door. But from that I didn't hear anymore.
Okay. Very nice.
And I really like it,
I could make it easily understandable to you because I'm also there only, Vrinda. I'm very much there. So my understanding is also there. Thank you, Vrinda. Hare Krishna, thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Very, very beautiful class, Mataji. Thank you so much. Such an excellent class. So nice, Mataji. You are good to narrate the pastimes, Mataji.
No, Mataji. Meager attempt, and I'm liking Guru Maharaj's picture that was giving me lots of strength as I was doing. Thank you.
Hari Bol, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Is there anybody having any more realizations? Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Cinmayi Vrajapriya Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Wow, very, very wonderful session, Mataji. Thank you so much. I was just thinking that, the way you explained and narrated the entire pastime was so relishable, and it just goes straight to the heart, and the way and each and every. I love the prayer that you said at the end. I really love the verse that you were saying, that you were quoting, that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he tried to say those words a few times, but he couldn't because he is in that continuous mode of separation. And it was very beautiful to hear about, what the devotional tree is like. And you explained that also very wonderfully. And the pastime, of course, the pastime of Madhavindra Puri and Shira Chora Gopinath was very, very wonderful, Mataji. The way you explained it with all the details was so beautiful, Mataji. Thank you so much for being here and for coming and giving Caitanya Bhagavat class. We are very fortunate to hear from you. Please share the verse that you read from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Please come again, Mataji. I'm so happy to hear you after such a long time.
I get very touched. I'm not a good candidate.
Oh, yeah, perfect. You're wonderful. Hare Krishna.
Such beautiful speakers every day, and in between I just sneak in, and it's not worth, Mataji. Amazing speakers come every day. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Indulika Karuna, Mataji. So nice of you. So nice to hear you again. Thank you, Mataji. Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Mataji. There is one comment in the chat box. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Wonderful, very, very wonderful narration of the pastime. Thank you so much. Eagerly waiting for your association. It is Yeshumati Mataji saying that. Is there any more realizations? Okay. If there are no more realizations, we can end the call here. Once again, thank you so much, Mataji, for such a beautiful class. Yes, who is that? Who wants to speak?
No, I had a question for Mataji.
Oh, okay. Mataji is getting scared of your question.
My question was how to relish Shastra so much while reading it, because I see so much relishment from your side. Can you give us some tips?
Mataji, I don't know. I just read, Mataji. I don't know what I relish. Just read, Mataji. Bless
Thank
me,
you, Mataji.
relish Mataji. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that, Mataji.
Anyway, thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, I agree with Mataji. So much bhav is there when you're reading. And that is why we started that reading of in the YouTube, right? Your sweet voice, but then it stopped. I always keep telling you and troubling you about it, Mataji. I'm so sorry. But then Preeti Mataji was saying your reading is so nice. A lot of emotion filled in that, Mataji. Thank you. Thank you so much. So if there are no more realizations. Yes, Mataji, you want to say something?
No, Mataji, if you are seeing something, it is all causeless mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Srila Gurudev, Mataji. That is all, and worth nothing. Thank you so much for seeing some good qualities, which is nothing but their mercy. That is all, Mataji. And your vision is seeing it. That is all, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji, once again for such a beautiful class. So I would like to end the call here by offering my obeisances to Mataji and all the assembled on the call, all the devotees assembled on the call. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anantakoti Vaishnavrind ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Cinmayi Vrajapriya Mataji ki jai.
Yay! Thank you so much, Mataji.
Please bless me, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining today's session. We'll meet tomorrow. Hare Bol. Mataji, Preeti Mataji, please close. Mataji.